Welcome back, everyone, to this episode of bonus content for the first
bonus
chapter,
Bible
the first
study.
few bonus Bible study for the first few chapters, first 4 chapters of Joshua.
Yes.
Wow. We're getting into it right here. And I wanted to kind of dive into more about like who Joshua is, where we've like heard about him before this moment. Just kind of like give us a brief recap of him in general, and also like explore a couple other things about him, like in other cultures as well. Because I didn't realize, but apparently Joshua holds a great position of respect among the Muslim community. So according to Islamic tradition, he was, along with Caleb, one of the 2 believing spies who Moses had sent to spy in the land of Canaan.
10
So
were bad
that's
and
all
2
the
were
same.
good. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And Muslims see Joshua as the leader of the faithful following the death of Moses. So some Muslims also believe Joshua to be the attendant of Moses, mentioned in the Quran before Moses meets Kedar. Joshua plays a role in Islamic literature with a significant narration in the Hadith.
Huh.
I don't know if I'm saying those things correctly, but yeah. So that's kind of fun.
Well,
and
when
then,
we get to drunk Quran study, then we'll know
Right.
more
There you
about
go.
those things.
We'll do that next. Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to go on. Yeah, let's see. So Yeshua, it's a rendering of the Hebrew language. Yeshua is Joshua. So Yahweh in salvation is what it means, which is fun.
Okay, right, because we talked before
I did
about
not know
how...
that.
Aren't there theories / facts, maybe theories, I don't know which, that's actually the name of Jesus was Joshua?
Yeah. So it's like there's like multiple, Yahweh and salvation. It requires a different vocalization of the second name component. Reading it is also related to Hoshua, the name used in the Torah before Moses added the divine name. The modern linguistic analysis of the name, however, is Yahweh is lordly. So Jesus is also a derivative of the Greek transliteration of Yeshua via Latin. So yeah, they are close together.
Yeah, but maybe originally were slightly different in Hebrew, but were similar enough that they get transcribed the same is kind of what I'm seeing in some stuff here. Well, maybe I have to look into that more once we get to
Yeah.
Well, wait, but
Jesus.
hang
Once
on,
we
but
get
don't
there.
we?
Yeah.
But didn't Moses gave Joshua a different name?
He did?
Yes. Remember, he was like, "I'm gonna call you Josh," and his original name was something different.
Right.
Yeah, don't you remember that?
I vaguely remember
That was
that.
a long time ago. It was when Joshua first showed up.
Right, you're right. He was... his name was Hoshea.
That's what it was, Hoshea. And Moses was like, "I'm not
Hoshea,
saying
yeah.
that."
It's like, you will be named Joshua. Yeah. No, that makes sense. So,
man, okay.
something I didn't realize, it said that apparently, he was charged by Moses with selecting and commanding a militia group for their first battle after exiting Egypt against the Amalekites in Rephidim, in which they were victorious. And this is all the way back in Exodus. And then he later accompanied Moses when he ascended biblical Mount Sinai to commune with God, visualized God's plan for the Israel tabernacle, and received the 10 Commandments. I'm like, really? He was
Yeah,
there?
I remember that.
It said...
Yeah, I remember him being mentioned.
okay.
I don't remember specifically what the events were, but I remember him
Yes.
coming up a couple times, and it was like, oh, is it that Joshua?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says Joshua was with Moses when he descended from the mountain, heard the Israelites' celebrations around the golden calf, and broke the tablets bearing the words of the commandments. Similarly, in the narrative, which refers to Moses being able to speak with God in his tent, meeting outside the camp, Joshua is seen as a custodian of the tent when Moses returned to the Israel encampment. However, when Moses returned to the mountains to recreate the tablets, Joshua was not present, as the biblical text states, "No man shall come up with you." So apparently,
I see.
yeah. And then,
So-
of course,
Well, I just wonder if if Yahweh's like, I need some people to stay behind and make sure there's no more golden calves this time. So
maybe
no one
maybe
else can
that was
come
one
with
of
you.
them.
That's
Yeah, exactly.
interesting.
But then, and later he was identified as one of the 12 spies sent by Moses. So he
Right.
was the 2 good. Yeah, and
Yes.
he and Caleb gave the encouraging report, of course. So let's see. So one other thing was that there's a prevailing scholarly view that the book of Joshua is not a factual account of historical events, which I found very interesting. I was like, oh, okay. The apparent setting of Joshua is 13th century BCE, a time of widespread city destruction, but with a few exceptions. The destroyed cities are not the ones in the Bible associates with Joshua, and the ones it does associate with him show little to no sign of even being occupied at the time. Fascinating.
Interesting.
So,
well,
just interesting that kind of like isn't quite what scholars think happened during that exact time.
Yeah, when I was trying to pick out a new theme song for us, one of the things that I was looking at was, like what are the sort of the themes in Joshua? I didn't want too many spoilers, besides what I remember, but, tried to look up kind of what are general themes, and in doing that, did see some stuff about the theories about the sources and that this was probably written at a much later time, motivated.
So similar to Deuteronomy.
Similar to Deuteronomy, where it's probably wasn't meant to necessarily historically represent what happened right then, but it was more like for its time was a message to try to tell its people like, hey, these are things that happened. These are the legends that you should try to live up to or whatever it was. That similarly, it seems like a lot of scholars agree on that it was actually written much later and was actually kind of colored by some other political things going on at the time. Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Amazing.
Yeah. What did you look up? What did I look up?
What did you look up?
I looked up
I don't know. What did you look up?
This awesome business with the river. Because partly I wanted to know, like, why do we not talk about this? Like, why don't I know this story? This seems like an awesome story. It seems like an easy story to tell to kids. I'm like, were the Sunday school teachers worried that we would hear this story and then somehow the Red Sea would become less special because it's happened twice? I don't know what the deal is. I really don't know.
Because you don't. Okay, so you don't remember the story at all? That's fascinating.
No, the part about the Jordan becoming a wall of water and then walking across it. No, I don't remember any of that. And it just seems like such a cool story that as a kid I would have been like, wow, cool, just like with the Red Sea. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't get that. What I did find though in looking into this is like the significant pieces of it is that it was a repeat of something that Yahweh had done with Moses.
Right.
So the fact that Yahweh is doing it with Joshua is significant to show like, yes, Joshua is also, blessed by Yahweh, big deal.
Yeah, big deal.
BBYBD. Blessed by Yahweh, big deal. Also, from reading some of these reports, that it did become a wall, like the heap. It is like the river sort of became a wall of water. So that wasn't just my envisioning of this cool movie we're going to make, but that is what other people think too. And yeah, I guess that's it. Just that like, it was sort of this significant sign that he was able to do the stuff that Moses could do. But I feel like I want to get to the bottom of this conspiracy of why this story was hidden from me as a child. I feel robbed of this story.
Oh, goodness.
I feel like, I don't know if I'm manufacturing this memory or not, but I just remember specifically in my third grade class, in second and third grade, that when it was time for Bible class, that there was a lot of, multimedia presentations were very limited back in these days. And so basically, I remember the teacher just had a bunch of little, not quite printouts, but these like printed, like painted illustrations of what was going on. And so as we were reading through the verses, she would kind of hang these up so that the kiddos can have an easier time imagining what's going on. And I feel like I remember seeing one of those that is these, like the priests in the Jordan with the ark and the water being gone. But again, I could be manufacturing that. Yeah. I feel like I do remember this, but again, it was that same thing where I was like, it's not as impressive as the Red Sea. And so...
But the river became a wall. That's super cool.
The wall part is cool.
Sweet.
And I don't remember them ever emphasizing the wall part of it. So to be fair.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. What do you got for us?
Well, I tried to look up as much as I could about Rahab without getting too much into spoilers because Rahab's not totally done here. Not completely.
From the tiny bit that I looked at before you took over looking at that, she's like very, very much not done. Like, we're going to talk about her for a long time.
Really?
Yes. In the future, yes.
Not to spoil too much, but she will be talked about in the New Testament. Like she's mentioned as someone we remember.
She gets some name drops in the New Testament, yeah. So First thing that's interesting is that there's some debate as to whether or not Rahab was a prostitute or if she just ran an inn. She may have been an innkeeper. However, at that time, apparently it was common for inns and brothels to essentially be the same thing, like kind of in the same place, you know?
Like in the old Western movies where like you go stay at the saloon that's
exactly.
also
of
the
course,
hotel.
All the prostitutes are there, and so you can,
okay.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's kind of the jury's out on that one. However, they do point out the fact that inns in general were a good place for spies to go to get intelligence.
Okay.
Because
everyone's drinking.
Everyone's hanging out. People are passing through. You know, you kind of get, I guess you're able to hang out and listen. And
right.
So maybe these spies weren't so terrible after all.
They still got found out.
They still got found out. It's
they were
true.
asking too many questions.
They were too obvious. They went straight to the place where spies go, which is the inn.
Yeah, that's true.
Other thing that's interesting is, we talk about how Rahab hid the spies under flax on her roof.
Yeah.
And that was a common practice that, like, when the harvest was happening, you'd harvest it and then you set it to dry on your roof. So it would make sense that you just have all this
that's perfect.
stuff on your roof. Exactly. So you could just hide them up there.
Huh.
Now, here's where stuff gets a little bit nuts. Is when we get into the rabbinic literature. And now the rabbinic literature is basically commentary that's been written by various like rabbis and Jewish thinkers about the Torah and the Talmud over the years. And as happens in many religious traditions, like the early commentary is also sometimes held as like canon essentially, or very sacred as well. I'm going to read you this translated passage from the Megillah 15a, which is part of the rabbinic literature. So first of all, I'll just summarize this first part for you, that basically Rahab is named as one of the 4 most beautiful women ever around. Ever.
She's like Helen of Troy. But,
yes.
But in this, okay.
Yeah. Basically, including the other 3 are Sarah, who we've met. Sarah. Yeah, Abraham's wife. Abigail, who I don't think we've met yet.
I don't think we've met Abigail.
And Esther, we also have not met yet, but we will.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to read you this translated part also about Rahab. So Rabbi Yitzhak said, anyone who says Rahab, Rahab, immediately experiences a seminal emission due to the arousal of desire caused by Rahab's great beauty.
Wow. Okay.
Now,
it's like saying Bloody Mary in the mirror. It's just Rahab.
Oh, geez. Okay, now that goes on. It goes on.
Okay.
Rav Naaman said to him, I say Rahab, Rahab, and it does not affect me. Rabbi Yitzhak said to Rav Naaman, when I said this, I was specifically referring to one who knows her personally and recognizes her beauty. Only for one who has met Rahab in person is the mere mention of her name capable of arousing lust. So...
so the takeaway is not that the name itself is somehow magical like Bloody Mary, but that if you've seen her, then even hearing her name, you just be like, oh wow.
Like if you've been with her, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or you know about her.
Not even that you've been with her, but you've known her. You've just seen her.
Yeah,
she's
then you
legendary.
You say the word Rahab, Rahab, and just like instant orgasm.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Sweet.
Cool. That's what you got?
That's what I got.
Yeah.
So there's going to be more of Rahab. She's going to still be there. We're going to read more about her, but that's what I got for now. Again, Rahab, one of the very few role models that ladies are given in the Bible.
Yeah.
To just, I guess, be hospitable and be kind and also betray the city that you live in.
Well, and be on Yahweh's side, no matter what.
Be on Yahweh's side, yes.
Well, kind of like, although it's interesting, though, that, the one other example I can think of someone who is not one of the Israelites, but who is on Yahweh's side, was Balaam.
Balaam, yes.
But then he ends up getting...
Exactly, he got screwed too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's why I'm worried. I think she's
right, because she's not a Jew.
Yeah, so it's gonna...
So there's really... Jury's out. There's no loyalty.
Don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the scary part.
Well, everyone...
I guess we'll find out.
We will find out next week.
Gird your loins.
Yes.
Don't say Rahab too many times.
No, unless that's what you're going for. But...
Indeed.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next week when we finally, hopefully, maybe get to find out what happens with Rahab and her family, as well as kicking some booty in Canaan, in Jericho, wherever we are. I don't know.
Wherever.
See you next week.
See you then.